As time-looping technology reached a new phase of maturity and integration, the global community began to witness transformative changes across multiple sectors. This chapter delves into the ways in which the technology, guided by the principles of responsible innovation, reshaped industries, communities, and the broader world. With the implementation of the Global Framework for Responsible Time Looping, GFR, and the establishment of the Global Innovation Council, the stage was set for a more structured and ethical approach to deploying time-looping technology. These structures ensured that new projects were rigorously assessed for their environmental, social, and ethical impacts, and that they aligned with the broader goals of sustainability and equity. In agriculture, the advancements in time-looping technology led to a renaissance in sustainable farming practices. Farmers, scientists, and environmentalists collaborated to develop integrated systems that combined traditional knowledge with cutting-edge technology. These systems utilized time looping to enhance soil fertility, increase crop diversity, and improve resilience to climate change. The use of polyculture and agroforestry, supported by time looping, resulted in thriving ecosystems that supported both agriculture and biodiversity. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team played a crucial role in these developments, providing expertise and guidance on best practices. They emphasized the importance of continuous learning and adaptation, encouraging farmers to experiment and share their experiences. This collaborative approach fostered a community of practice that was both innovative and rooted in ecological stewardship. In the healthcare sector, the responsible use of time-looping technology revolutionized medical treatment and care. Time loop-assisted regenerative therapies became a standard part of treatment for a range of conditions, from traumatic injuries to degenerative diseases. The technology enabled rapid recovery and improved outcomes, reducing the burden on healthcare systems and enhancing the quality of life for patients. The Global Innovation Council worked closely with healthcare professionals, ethicists, and patient advocacy groups to ensure that these advancements were accessible and ethically managed. They developed guidelines for patient consent, monitoring, and support, ensuring that treatments were administered safely and that patients were fully informed about the potential risks and benefits. The transformative impact of time-looping technology extended beyond agriculture and healthcare. In education, the technology was used to create immersive learning environments that accelerated skill development and personalized education pathways. Students could experience condensed learning cycles, mastering complex subjects in shorter periods, while receiving tailored support to ensure deep understanding. In industry, time-looping technology facilitated innovation in research and development, allowing companies to iterate on products and processes at unprecedented speeds. This acceleration led to breakthroughs in various fields, from renewable energy to biotechnology, driving economic growth and technological advancement. However, the Global Innovation Council and regulatory bodies maintained a vigilant stance, ensuring that these developments adhered to ethical standards and did not exacerbate social inequalities. The widespread adoption of time-looping technology also brought about significant cultural and societal changes. As communities adapted to the new possibilities and challenges presented by the technology, there was a growing emphasis on ethical reflection and dialogue. Public forums, cultural festivals, and educational programs became platforms for exploring the implications of time looping on human identity, community values, and the future of society. Dr. Vaughn, reflecting on the transformative impact of the technology, emphasized the importance of maintaining a balance between innovation and responsibility. She noted that while the technology had brought about significant benefits, it also required a continuous commitment to ethical principles and public engagement. The journey of integrating time-looping technology was an ongoing process, one that demanded vigilance, adaptability, and a deep respect for the interconnectedness of all aspects of life. As the chapter concluded, there was a sense of optimism about the future. The global community had demonstrated resilience and wisdom in navigating the complexities of time-looping technology, laying the groundwork for a new era of responsible innovation. The transformative changes witnessed across sectors were a testament to what could be achieved when technology was guided by ethical considerations and a commitment to the common good. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remain dedicated to their mission of advancing time-looping technology in a way that was equitable, sustainable, and reflective of shared human values. They recognized that the path ahead would continue to present challenges, but they were confident that with collective effort and a clear vision, they could help shape a future where technology served as a catalyst for positive change and human flourishing. As time-looping technology became more deeply integrated into the global fabric, its influence extended beyond immediate applications, shaping economic, social, and cultural landscapes. This chapter explores the broader implications of this integration, highlighting both the opportunities and the challenges that emerged as societies adapted to a new technological paradigm. The economic impact of time-looping technology was profound and multifaceted. Industries that leveraged time-looping for research and development experienced accelerated innovation cycles, leading to rapid advancements in product development and manufacturing efficiency. This acceleration not only boosted productivity, but also transformed the competitive landscape, favoring companies and regions that could effectively harness the technology. However, this rapid pace of change also posed significant challenges. Traditional industries and labor markets faced disruption as new technologies and processes replaced older ones. Workers in sectors affected by automation and technological innovation expressed concerns about job displacement and the need for new skills. In response, governments and organizations emphasized the importance of reskilling and lifelong learning programs, ensuring that workers could adapt to the evolving economic landscape. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team, along with global partners, advocated for inclusive economic policies that addressed these challenges. They supported initiatives aimed at equipping workers with the skills needed for the new economy, emphasizing the importance of accessible education and training programs. The Global Innovation Council also worked to promote policies that balance technological advancement with social equity, advocating for fair labor practices and the protection of workers' rights. Socially, the integration of time-looping technology brought about significant shifts in how people experienced and managed time. The ability to accelerate certain processes and experiences led to changes in work patterns, leisure activities, and even cultural practices. While some embraced the increased efficiency and flexibility afforded by the technology, others expressed concerns about the potential loss of traditional rhythms and the pace of life. Communities and cultural institutions played a key role in mediating these changes, fostering dialogue about the value of different ways of experiencing time and promoting cultural preservation. Public art, literature, and media began to explore themes related to time, technology, and human experience, prompting widespread tie-in on how these elements shaped identity and society. The Global Framework for Responsible Time Looping, GFRT, continued to serve as a critical tool in managing the ethical and social implications of the technology's widespread adoption. The framework's principles of inclusivity, sustainability, and public engagement were integrated into national policies and international agreements, guiding the development and deployment of time-looping projects. Public participation in governance became more robust, with citizens playing an active role in shaping the policies and practices surrounding time-looping technology. The establishment of community advisory boards and public consultation processes ensured that diverse perspectives were considered in decision-making. This inclusivity helped build public trust and legitimacy, essential for navigating the complex challenges associated with the technology. The environmental impact of time-looping technology also came under greater scrutiny as its applications expanded. While the technology offered potential solutions for environmental conservation and sustainability, such as accelerating reforestation efforts or enhancing renewable energy technologies, there were also concerns about unintended consequences. The Global Innovation Council prioritized ongoing research into the environmental impacts of time looping, advocating for a precautionary approach that balanced innovation with ecological stewardship. Internationally, the integration of time-looping technology highlighted the need for coordinated global governance. The technology's transnational nature meant that decisions made in one region could have far-reaching implications, necessitating a collaborative approach to regulation and oversight. The Global Time Looping Consortium facilitated this cooperation, bringing together countries to develop shared standards and protocols and to address issues such as cross-border data sharing and intellectual property rights. Dr. Vaughn and her team emphasized the importance of maintaining an ethical compass amidst rapid technological change. They advocated for a continuous dialogue about the values and principles that should guide the development of time-looping technology, ensuring that it contributed to the well-being of all people and the planet. This dialogue involved not only scientists and policymakers, but also ethicists, community leaders, and the general public. As the chapter concluded, there was a recognition that the global integration of time-looping technology was both an unprecedented opportunity and a significant responsibility. The technology had the potential to address some of the world's most pressing challenges, from healthcare to climate change, but it also required careful management to prevent exacerbating inequalities or causing harm. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remained committed to charting a course that prioritized ethical innovation and public engagement. They understood that the path forward would require ongoing vigilance, adaptability, and a willingness to confront difficult questions about the role of technology in society. With a shared vision and a collective effort, they believed that time-looping technology could be a force for good, fostering a more equitable, sustainable, and inclusive world. As time-looping technology continued to integrate into daily life, its influence extended beyond practical applications, permeating cultural narratives and ethical considerations. This chapter delves into the ways in which time-looping technology shaped and was shaped by cultural and ethical reflections, highlighting the dialogue between technological advancement and human values. The cultural impact of time-looping technology was profound, influencing art, literature, and media in ways that prompted society to re-examine concepts of time, progress, and identity. Artists and writers began exploring themes related to the manipulation of time, the consequences of technological advancement, and the ethical dilemmas posed by such profound capabilities. These creative works served as a mirror, reflecting societal anxieties, hopes, and questions about the future. In literature, novels and short stories delved into speculative scenarios involving time looping, exploring both utopian and dystopian outcomes. These narratives often centered on characters grappling with the implications of accelerated life experiences, the ethical use of technology, and the impact on personal relationships and societal structures. Such stories resonated with readers, offering a means to explore and process the rapid changes occurring in their own lives. The visual arts similarly responded to the new technological landscape, with exhibitions and installations that challenged viewers to consider the interplay between technology and nature, the fluidity of time, and the human experience. These artworks often incorporated interactive elements, allowing viewers to engage with the themes in a more immersive and reflective manner. Public festivals and cultural events became platforms for celebrating and critiquing time-looping technology. These gatherings provided opportunities for communities to come together, share experiences, and discuss the broader implications of technological change. They also served as venues for public education, helping to demystify the technology and encourage informed dialogue about its benefits and risks. The ethical reflection surrounding time-looping technology was equally significant. As the technology's capabilities became more widely understood, ethical questions about its appropriate use and potential consequences gained prominence. Issues such as the fair distribution of benefits, the rights of individuals undergoing time loop treatments, and the long-term societal impacts were hotly debated. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team, along with the International Ethics Council, played a key role in facilitating these ethical discussions. They organized forums and conferences that brought together ethicists, scientists, legal experts, and members of the public to explore these issues in depth. These events emphasized the importance of a nuanced understanding of ethics, one that considered the complex interplay between technological possibilities and human values. One of the central ethical debates concerned the potential for time-looping technology to create or exacerbate inequalities. While the technology offered significant benefits, there was concern that these benefits might not be equitably distributed, particularly if access was limited by socioeconomic status or geographic location. The Global Framework for Responsible Time Looping, GFRT, addressed these concerns by promoting policies that ensured fair access and by supporting initiatives aimed at reducing disparities. Another ethical issue involved the use of time-looping technology in human enhancement. While the technology's medical applications were widely accepted, proposals for using it to enhance human capabilities, such as intelligence, physical strength, or longevity, provoked controversy. Critics argued that such uses could lead to new forms of social stratification or fundamentally alter the nature of human identity. Proponents, however, saw potential benefits in improving quality of life and expanding human potential. The International Ethics Council and the Global Innovation Council worked to develop guidelines and regulations that balance these perspectives, emphasizing caution and the need for broad societal consensus before proceeding with enhancement applications. They also stressed the importance of ongoing public dialogue and transparent decision-making processes. The role of education in fostering ethical reflection and critical thinking was highlighted as a crucial component of adapting to the new technological landscape. Schools and universities began to incorporate discussions about time-looping technology into their curricula, encouraging students to explore the scientific, ethical, and social dimensions of the technology. This educational approach aimed to equip the next generation with the tools needed to navigate a complex and rapidly changing world. As the chapter concluded, it was clear that time-looping technology had become a central part of the cultural and ethical fabric of society. The technology was not just a set of tools or processes, but a catalyst for broader reflections on what it meant to be human, the nature of progress, and the responsibilities that came with technological power. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their global partners, continued to advocate for a holistic approach to technology development, one that integrated ethical reflection, cultural sensitivity, and public engagement. They believed that by fostering a culture of thoughtful and informed dialogue, society could better manage the challenges and opportunities presented by time-looping technology. The journey of integrating time-looping technology was ongoing, marked by continuous learning and adaptation. The focus on cultural resonance and ethical reflection provided a foundation for addressing future challenges and ensuring that the technology's development remained aligned with shared human values. As they looked ahead, Dr. Vaughn and her team remained committed to guiding this transformative technology in a direction that honored both its potential and its profound implications for humanity. As time-looping technology became more embedded in society, its implications spanned across generations, affecting how people of all ages experienced and interacted with the world. This chapter explores the intergenerational impact of the technology, the cultivation of resilience, and the importance of education in preparing society for ongoing and future challenges. The integration of time-looping technology brought different experiences and perspectives to the forefront, particularly among different age groups. Younger generations, growing up in a world where such technology was a norm, adapted quickly to its possibilities and challenges. They were often more open to the rapid changes it brought and were key drivers in exploring new applications and ethical frameworks. In contrast, older generations, who had witnessed the gradual introduction of time-looping technology, often approached it with a mix of caution and curiosity. They brought valuable perspectives shaped by a longer historical view and a deeper understanding of the social and ethical complexities of technological change. This diversity of perspectives was crucial in shaping balanced policies and fostering an inclusive dialogue about the future. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team recognized the importance of bridging generational divides to build a cohesive and resilient society. They facilitated intergenerational forums and discussions that allowed people of all ages to share their experiences, concerns, and hopes regarding time-looping technology. These conversations were instrumental in fostering mutual understanding and respect, ensuring that diverse voices were heard in shaping the technology's trajectory. Education emerged as a critical tool in this process. Schools, universities, and community organizations developed programs that encouraged critical thinking, ethical reasoning, and a deep understanding of the science behind time-looping technology. These programs aimed to equip individuals with the skills and knowledge needed to navigate the complexities of the technological landscape, promoting a culture of informed and responsible citizenship. Special attention was given to developing curricula that addressed the ethical and societal implications of the technology. Courses in ethics, philosophy, and social sciences were integrated with scientific and technical education, providing students with a holistic understanding of the issues at stake. This interdisciplinary approach was crucial in fostering a new generation of leaders and thinkers capable of guiding society through future technological changes. Resilience became a central theme in these educational and community initiatives. The concept of resilience was not only about adapting to technological changes, but also about building systems and mindsets that could withstand shocks and disruptions. This included resilience in ecosystems, economies, and social structures, as well as in individual and community well-being. The Global Innovation Council and the International Ethics Council emphasized the importance of resilience in their policies and recommendations. They advocated for adaptive governance frameworks that could respond flexibly to new information and challenges. This included investing in research and development that prioritized sustainability and long-term thinking, as well as fostering a culture of continuous learning and innovation. Public health emerged as a key area where resilience needed to be cultivated. The healthcare sector's use of time-looping technology had revolutionized treatment and recovery processes, but it also raised questions about long-term health impacts and the equitable distribution of healthcare benefits. The Global Framework for Responsible Time Looping, GFRT, provided guidelines for ensuring that healthcare systems remained robust and inclusive, with a focus on preventive care, patient education, and community health initiatives. In the agricultural sector, resilience was fostered through sustainable farming practices and adaptive management strategies. The use of time-looping technology to enhance crop yields and resilience to climate change was balanced with efforts to protect biodiversity, maintain soil health, and support local farming communities. This holistic approach aimed to create agricultural systems that were both productive and ecologically sustainable. As these initiatives unfolded, there was a growing recognition of the importance of narrative and storytelling in shaping public understanding and attitudes toward time-looping technology. Media, arts, and literature played a crucial role in exploring the human side of technological change, providing a platform for diverse voices and experiences. These cultural expressions helped to humanize complex scientific and ethical issues, making them more accessible and relatable to the broader public. Dr. Vaughn and her team supported these cultural initiatives, recognizing their value in fostering empathy, reflection, and dialogue. They collaborated with artists, writers, and media producers to create content that explored the implications of time-looping technology in nuanced and thoughtful ways. This content often addressed themes of identity, memory, and the passage of time, resonating deeply with audiences and sparking meaningful conversations. The chapter concluded with a reflection on the importance of fostering a resilient and inclusive society. The integration of time-looping technology had brought significant changes and challenges, but it had also provided an opportunity to rethink and reshape societal structures and values. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remained committed to guiding this process with care and foresight. As they looked to the future, they recognized that the journey was far from over. The ongoing development and integration of time-looping technology would continue to raise new questions and challenges, requiring a collective effort to navigate them wisely. With a focus on resilience, education, and ethical reflection, they believed that society could harness the potential of technology to build a more equitable, sustainable, and connected world. As time-looping technology continued to evolve, the need for robust ethical governance became increasingly apparent. This chapter explores the efforts to establish comprehensive governance structures that ensure the responsible use of time-looping technology, while also looking ahead to the future challenges and opportunities this technology might bring. The Global Framework for Responsible Time Looping, GFRT, and the establishment of the Global Innovation Council had laid the groundwork for ethical governance. These entities focused on setting standards and policies that balanced innovation with ethical considerations, environmental sustainability, and social equity. However, as new applications and challenges emerged, it became clear that governance structures needed to be both dynamic and inclusive to adapt to evolving circumstances. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team played a pivotal role in advocating for these adaptive governance structures. They emphasized the importance of foresight and proactive regulation, advocating for mechanisms that could anticipate potential risks and ethical dilemmas before they became critical issues. This approach required continuous monitoring of technological developments and an open dialogue with the public and stakeholders. One of the central challenges in governance was ensuring that policies kept pace with rapid technological advancements. To address this, the Global Innovation Council introduced a framework for agile regulation. This framework aimed to create flexible regulatory pathways that could be quickly adjusted in response to new information or emerging technologies. The agile regulation approach included regular reviews of policies, stakeholder consultations, and pilot programs to test new regulatory models. The International Ethics Council also expanded its role, becoming a central body for ethical deliberation and guidance. The Council provided recommendations on a wide range of issues, including the use of time-looping technology in human enhancement, the ethical implications of data usage and privacy, and the impact of technology on social and economic inequalities. The Council's work was characterized by a commitment to inclusivity, transparency, and the public good. Public participation was a cornerstone of the ethical governance model. Dr. Vaughn and her colleagues ensured that public consultations were not merely symbolic, but genuinely influential in shaping policy. They established platforms for ongoing public engagement, including online forums, citizen assemblies, and interactive workshops. These platforms allowed for diverse perspectives to be heard and integrated into decision-making processes. In addition to formal governance structures, there was a strong emphasis on fostering a culture of ethical responsibility within organizations and communities. Companies developing time-looping technology were encouraged to adopt ethical guidelines and practices, such as ethical review boards, transparency in operations, and community engagement initiatives. Educational institutions played a key role in promoting ethical literacy, teaching students about the ethical dimensions of technology and their responsibilities as innovators and citizens. As the governance framework matured, attention turned to the future challenges that time-looping technology might pose. These included concerns about long-term environmental impacts, potential misuse in military or surveillance applications, and the ethical complexities of life extension and human enhancement. The Global Innovation Council and the International Ethics Council initiated a series of future-oriented workshops and scenario planning exercises to explore these issues. These workshops brought together experts from various fields, including technology, ethics, law, and public policy, as well as representatives from diverse communities. The goal was to identify potential future scenarios and develop strategies to address them proactively. This forward-looking approach aimed to ensure that governance structures could remain relevant and effective in a rapidly changing world. The chapter highlighted the importance of international cooperation in governance. Time-looping technology, by its nature, had global implications, requiring a coordinated response across borders. The Global Innovation Council worked closely with international organizations, national governments, and regional bodies to harmonize standards, share best practices, and address transnational issues. This collaboration was essential for managing the technology's risks and maximizing its benefits on a global scale. Dr. Vaughn reflected on the progress made in establishing ethical governance for time-looping technology. She acknowledged that while significant strides had been made, The journey was ongoing and required continuous effort. The dynamic nature of technology meant that governance structures needed to be resilient and adaptable, capable of responding to new challenges and opportunities as they arose. The chapter concluded with a focus on the future. The ethical governance of time-looping technology was not just about managing risks, but also about envisioning and creating a future that aligned with shared human values. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their global partners, were committed to this vision, guided by the principles of ethical innovation, public engagement, and global solidarity. As they looked ahead, they remained vigilant and hopeful, confident that with a collective commitment to ethical governance, society could navigate the complexities of time-looping technology and harness its potential for the greater good. The path was challenging, but the foundations laid, through robust governance and public participation, provided a strong base for building a just and sustainable future. As time-looping technology matured and its applications diversified, the global community began to explore new frontiers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible while preparing for the unknown challenges that lay ahead. This chapter examines how Dr. Iris Vaughn, her team, and their international collaborators navigated the expanding horizons of time-looping technology and the efforts to anticipate and address future complexities. The exploration of new frontiers was driven by the desire to leverage time-looping technology in innovative ways that could address pressing global challenges. One such frontier was the potential use of time looping in space exploration and colonization. The ability to accelerate biological processes and environmental recovery presented unique opportunities for sustaining human life in space and on other planets. Dr. Vaughn's team collaborated with space agencies and international research institutions to investigate how time-looping technology could support long-term space missions. They explored applications such as rapid plant growth for food production, accelerated recycling processes for waste management, and enhanced medical treatments for space-related health issues. These efforts aimed to make space exploration more feasible and sustainable, opening up new possibilities for human settlement beyond Earth. Another frontier involved the use of time-looping technology in environmental restoration and climate mitigation. As the world faced increasing environmental degradation and the urgent need to address climate change, time looping offered potential solutions for accelerating ecosystem recovery and carbon sequestration. Projects were initiated to restore damaged ecosystems, revitalize soil health, and enhance the growth of carbon-absorbing plant species. These environmental initiatives required careful planning and monitoring to avoid unintended consequences. The Global Innovation Council, in conjunction with environmental scientists and ecologists, established protocols for assessing the ecological impacts of time-looping projects. These protocols emphasized adaptive management and the precautionary principle, ensuring that interventions were safe, sustainable, and aligned with broader environmental goals. The potential for using time-looping technology in medical research and public health also expanded. Researchers explored how the technology could accelerate the development of vaccines and treatments for diseases, enhance regenerative medicine, and improve the management of aging-related conditions. These applications promised significant benefits for global health, but also raised ethical questions about access, equity, and the long-term implications of altering natural aging processes. To address these questions, the International Ethics Council held a series of deliberations on the ethics of human enhancement and medical interventions. These discussions involved bioethicists, medical professionals, patient advocacy groups, and members of the public. The Council sought to balance the potential benefits of new medical technologies with the need for ethical oversight and the protection of fundamental human rights. As these new frontiers were explored, there was a growing recognition of the importance of preparing for the unknown. The inherent uncertainties and risks associated with advanced technologies required a proactive and flexible approach to governance and research. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with the Global Innovation Council, emphasized the need for scenario planning, horizon scanning, and the development of contingency plans. Scenario planning involved imagining a range of possible futures and considering how different developments might interact and unfold. This process helped policymakers and researchers identify potential challenges and opportunities, develop strategies for mitigating risks, and build resilience against unexpected events. Horizon scanning, on the other hand, focused on monitoring emerging trends and technologies that could impact the field of time looping, ensuring that governance frameworks could adapt to new realities. The chapter also highlighted the role of interdisciplinary collaboration in addressing the complexities of time-looping technology. The integration of insights from fields such as sociology, psychology, law, and economics was crucial for understanding the broader societal impacts of the technology and for designing inclusive and responsive governance structures. Public education and engagement continued to be central to these efforts. Dr. Vaughn's team expanded their outreach programs to include new platforms for learning and dialogue, such as virtual reality experiences, interactive online courses, and community-based workshops. These programs aim to make complex scientific and ethical issues accessible to a wide audience, fostering a well-informed and engaged public. As the global community navigated these new frontiers, there was a sense of cautious optimism tempered by a recognition of the need for humility and ethical vigilance. The journey of exploring and integrating time-looping technology was as much about asking the right questions as it was about finding the right answers. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remained committed to guiding this journey with integrity, foresight, and a deep sense of responsibility. The chapter concluded with a reflection on the evolving nature of technology and society. Time-looping technology had opened up unprecedented possibilities, but it also required a continuous process of learning, adaptation, and ethical reflection. As they looked to the future, Dr. Vaughn and her colleagues were prepared to continue navigating the unknown, confident that with a collective commitment to ethical innovation and global cooperation, they could help shape a future that was both visionary and grounded in shared human values. As time-looping technology continued to evolve and its applications expanded, the global community faced increasingly complex ethical dilemmas. This chapter explores how Dr. Iris Vaughn, her team, and their international collaborators navigated these dilemmas, emphasizing the role of global cooperation and ethical reflection in managing the technology's far-reaching impacts. The use of time-looping technology in human enhancement and medical interventions became a focal point of ethical debate. While the technology offered promising treatments for diseases and the potential to extend healthy lifespans, it also raised concerns about fairness, access, and the fundamental nature of human life. Questions about the ethical limits of enhancement, such as cognitive enhancements, physical augmentations, and life extension, sparked intense discussions among ethicists, scientists, and the public. Dr. Vaughn and her team played a crucial role in facilitating these discussions, working closely with the International Ethics Council to establish guidelines that balanced innovation with ethical considerations. The Council emphasized the principles of autonomy, justice, and non-maleficence, avoiding harm, advocating for policies that ensured equitable access to benefits and minimized risks. They also highlighted the importance of public consent and transparency, particularly in cases involving significant ethical or social implications. The ethical challenges of time-looping technology were not limited to human enhancement. The technology's applications in environmental restoration and climate mitigation, while beneficial, also required careful ethical consideration. The potential for unforeseen ecological consequences, such as unintended effects on biodiversity or ecosystem stability, prompted calls for rigorous environmental impact assessments and the application of the precautionary principle. The Global Innovation Council, in collaboration with environmental organizations and scientific bodies, developed comprehensive guidelines for the ethical use of time-looping technology in environmental projects. These guidelines emphasize sustainability, respect for natural systems, and the need for continuous monitoring and adaptation. They also called for inclusive decision-making processes that involve local communities and stakeholders, ensuring that diverse perspectives and values were considered. Global cooperation was essential in addressing these ethical dilemmas, and managing the technology's global impacts. The transnational nature of time-looping technology meant that decisions made in one country could have far-reaching effects, necessitating a coordinated approach to governance and regulation. The Global Time-Looping Consortium facilitated international dialogue and cooperation, bringing together governments, NGOs, and international organizations to develop shared standards and policies. One of the key areas of focus was the harmonization of regulatory frameworks. Differences in national regulations and ethical standards posed challenges for the consistent and safe application of time-looping technology across borders. The consortium worked to align these frameworks, promoting best practices and facilitating the exchange of information and expertise. This harmonization was crucial for ensuring that the technology was used responsibly and ethically on a global scale. The consortium also addressed issues related to intellectual property and data governance. As time-looping technology advanced, concerns about data privacy, ownership, and security became more pronounced. The consortium advocated for international agreements that protected individuals' rights and ensured that data was managed transparently and ethically. They also emphasized the need for safeguards against the misuse of technology, such as in surveillance or discriminatory practices. Public engagement and education were integral to navigating these ethical dilemmas. Dr. Vaughn and her team expanded their outreach efforts, using a variety of media and platforms to engage with the public and foster informed discussions. They organized town halls, webinars, and interactive exhibits, providing opportunities for people to learn about the technology, ask questions, and express their views. These efforts aimed to build a more informed and engaged citizenry, capable of participating in the ethical governance of emerging technologies. As the chapter unfolded, it became clear that the journey of integrating time-looping technology was as much about ethical reflection as it was about scientific and technical innovation. The challenges faced by Dr. Vaughn and her team underscored the importance of a holistic approach that considered the social, cultural, and moral dimensions of technological change. The chapter concluded with a reflection on the role of global cooperation in addressing the ethical dilemmas of time-looping technology. The collaborative efforts of the Global Time-Looping Consortium, the International Ethics Council, and other international bodies demonstrated the power of collective action in navigating complex issues. Dr. Vaughn and her colleagues remained committed to fostering a global dialogue that was inclusive, transparent, and grounded in shared values. Looking ahead, they recognized that the ethical challenges of time-looping technology would continue to evolve, requiring ongoing vigilance and adaptation. However, they were confident that with a strong foundation of global cooperation and ethical governance, society could navigate these challenges and harness the potential of time-looping technology for the greater good. The path forward was uncertain, but the commitment to ethical reflection and global solidarity provided a guiding light for the future. As time-looping technology became an integral part of global society, its impacts on daily life, social structures, and cultural norms became increasingly evident. This chapter examines how the technology reshaped various aspects of society and how Dr. Iris Vaughn, her team, and their international partners responded to the opportunities and challenges that arose. One of the most profound impacts of time-looping technology was on the concept of time itself. With the ability to accelerate biological processes, recovery times, and even learning, people began to experience time in fundamentally different ways. This shift affected everything from healthcare and education to work and leisure, prompting a reevaluation of long-standing norms and expectations. In healthcare, the use of time-looping technology led to shorter hospital stays and faster recovery times, allowing patients to return to their daily lives more quickly. This had significant implications for healthcare systems, reducing strain on resources and potentially lowering costs. However, it also raised questions about the equitable distribution of these benefits, particularly in regions with less access to advanced medical technologies. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with the Global Innovation Council, worked to ensure that the benefits of time-looping technology in healthcare were accessible to as many people as possible. They supported initiatives aimed at expanding healthcare infrastructure, training healthcare professionals, and providing subsidies or financial support for patients in need. These efforts aim to reduce disparities and promote health equity on a global scale. In education, time-looping technology revolutionized the way people learned and acquired new skills. Accelerated learning programs allowed students to master subjects in shorter periods, while personalized learning paths catered to individual needs and preferences. This flexibility enabled lifelong learning and continuous skill development, which were increasingly important in a rapidly changing job market. The societal implications of these changes were significant. The ability to learn and adapt quickly became a valuable skill, reshaping the labor market and influencing career trajectories. However, there were concerns about the potential for increased pressure and competition, as well as the risk of exacerbating inequalities between those with access to advanced educational technologies and those without. To address these challenges, Dr. Vaughn's team advocated for inclusive educational policies that ensured access to accelerated learning programs and resources. They emphasized the importance of supporting educators and institutions in adapting to new technologies, as well as providing students with the necessary support systems to navigate these changes effectively. Time-looping technology also influenced cultural and social norms, particularly around concepts of aging and longevity. As medical advancements made it possible to extend healthy lifespans, societal attitudes toward aging began to shift. People started to reconsider traditional life stages, retirement, and the timing of significant life events such as education, career, and family formation. These changes prompted a broader societal discussion about the implications of longer lives, including the potential impacts on social systems, intergenerational relationships, and economic structures. The International Ethics Council played a key role in facilitating these discussions, bringing together experts from various fields to explore the ethical, social, and cultural dimensions of life extension and aging. The use of time-looping technology also raised questions about identity and authenticity. As people had the opportunity to enhance their physical and cognitive abilities, debates emerged about what it meant to be human and the nature of personal identity. These discussions were particularly pronounced in contexts where enhancements could affect fundamental aspects of individuality, such as memory, personality, and decision-making. Dr. Vaughn and her team engaged with philosophers, ethicists, and cultural leaders to explore these questions, emphasizing the importance of personal autonomy and the right to make informed choices about one's own body and life. They also highlighted the need for a societal consensus on the limits of enhancement, balancing individual freedoms with broader social and ethical considerations. The chapter also addressed the potential for time-looping technology to impact social cohesion and community life. As people experienced time differently and had access to varying levels of technological enhancements, there was a risk of increased social stratification and isolation. The Global Time-Looping Consortium and the International Ethics Council emphasized the importance of community building and social solidarity in navigating these challenges. Initiatives were launched to foster community engagement, promote cultural exchange, and support inclusive social practices. These efforts aim to bridge divides, encourage empathy and understanding, and ensure that technological advancements did not erode the social fabric. Public art, storytelling, and cultural events played a vital role in this process, providing spaces for people to connect, share experiences, and reflect on the changing world. As the chapter concluded, there was a recognition of the profound and multifaceted impact of time-looping technology on society. While the technology offered numerous benefits, it also brought significant challenges and uncertainties. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remained committed to addressing these issues with a focus on ethical reflection, inclusivity, and public engagement. The journey of integrating time-looping technology was ongoing, and the societal impacts would continue to unfold in unpredictable ways. However, the commitment to ethical governance, global cooperation, and a shared vision for a just and equitable future provided a strong foundation for navigating these complexities. Dr. Vaughn and her colleagues were dedicated to guiding this journey with care and foresight, confident that with elective effort, society could harness the potential of time-looping technology for the benefit of all. As time-looping technology became more pervasive, the issue of technological equity, ensuring fair access and benefits, grew increasingly prominent. This chapter explores the global efforts to address disparities in access to time-looping technology, the challenges of maintaining equitable distribution, and the strategies implemented to promote inclusivity and justice. The promise of time-looping technology to revolutionize various sectors, from healthcare to education, also highlighted significant disparities in access. Wealthier regions and communities, equipped with better infrastructure and resources, were able to adopt and benefit from the technology more readily than less affluent areas. This uneven distribution risked exacerbating existing inequalities and creating new forms of technological exclusion. Dr. Iris Vaughn and her team, aware of these challenges, prioritized the promotion of technological equity in their work. They partnered with international organizations, governments, and non-governmental organizations to develop initiatives aimed at reducing these disparities. The Global Innovation Council played a crucial role in coordinating these efforts, advocating for policies and programs that ensured broader access to the technology's benefits. One of the key strategies was the establishment of the Global Time-Looping Equity Fund. This fund provided financial support to low-income regions for the development of infrastructure, training of personnel, and the acquisition of time-looping technology. It also supported research and development projects focused on affordable and scalable solutions, ensuring that technological advancements were accessible to a wider audience. The fund was complemented by technology transfer agreements, which facilitated the sharing of expertise, technology, and best practices between countries and regions. These agreements were designed to build local capacities and promote sustainable development, enabling communities to integrate time-looping technology in ways that were tailored to their specific needs and contexts. Education and training were critical components of these equity initiatives. Dr. Vaughn's team collaborated with educational institutions and community organizations to provide training programs for healthcare professionals, educators, and technicians. These programs focused on the practical and ethical aspects of using time-looping technology, preparing participants to implement and manage the technology effectively. In healthcare, efforts were made to ensure that time-looping treatments were available to underserved populations. This included expanding healthcare facilities, providing financial assistance for treatment costs, and developing mobile clinics to reach remote areas. The Global Innovation Council also advocated for the inclusion of time-looping treatments in national healthcare plans, ensuring that they were covered by insurance and accessible to all citizens. In education, initiatives aimed at providing access to accelerated learning programs and resources for students from diverse backgrounds. Scholarships, grants, and community-based learning centers were established to support students who might otherwise be excluded from the benefits of time-looping technology. These efforts sought to promote educational equity and empower individuals to take full advantage of new learning opportunities. The cultural and social dimensions of technological equity were also addressed. Dr. Vaughn and her colleagues recognized that access to technology was not just about physical availability, but also about cultural acceptance and integration. They worked with community leaders, cultural organizations, and media to promote inclusive narratives and representations of time-looping technology, ensuring that it was seen as a tool for empowerment and a positive change. Public engagement and participation were essential in fostering a sense of ownership and agency among communities. The Global Time-Looping Consortium organized public forums, workshops, and participatory planning processes that involved community members in decision-making. These initiatives aimed to build trust, promote transparency, and ensure that the voices of marginalized and vulnerable groups were heard and respected. Despite these efforts, challenges remained. The global landscape of time-looping technology was marked by ongoing disparities in access, infrastructure, and resources. The rapid pace of technological change sometimes outstripped the ability of governance structures and equity initiatives to keep up, leading to gaps and inconsistencies in implementation. To address these challenges, the Global Innovation Council and the International Ethics Council emphasize the importance of adaptive governance and continuous improvement. They advocated for regular assessments of equity initiatives, feedback mechanisms, and the flexibility to adjust policies and programs as needed. This adaptive approach was crucial for responding to new challenges and ensuring that the pursuit of technological equity remained dynamic and responsive. The chapter concluded with a reflection on the interconnected nature of technological equity and global justice. The equitable distribution of time-looping technology was not just a matter of fairness, but also a critical component of broader efforts to address global challenges such as poverty, health disparities, and educational inequality. Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, remained committed to these efforts, guided by a vision of a world where technology served as a catalyst for inclusive and sustainable development. As they looked to the future, they recognized that the journey towards technological equity was ongoing and complex. However, they were encouraged by the progress made and the strong foundation of global cooperation and ethical commitment. With continued effort and collaboration, they believed that it was possible to create a more equitable and just global landscape, where the benefits of time-looping technology were shared widely and fairly. As the global community continued to navigate the complexities and opportunities presented by time-looping technology, there was a growing focus on the future. This chapter explores the emerging trends, potential advancements, and the ongoing commitment to ethical governance and inclusive development. The rapid evolution of time-looping technology and its integration into various sectors suggested that the coming years would bring even more transformative changes. Researchers and technologists were already exploring the next generation of applications, which promised to push the boundaries of what was possible. These advancements included more refined techniques for medical treatments, innovative uses in agriculture and environmental management, and novel applications in education and industry. One of the most anticipated advancements was the development of personalized time-looping treatments in healthcare. This approach aimed to tailor treatments to individual patients' genetic profiles, medical histories, and personal preferences, enhancing the efficacy and safety of interventions. Researchers were also exploring the potential for time looping to play a role in regenerative medicine, including organ regeneration and more advanced wound healing techniques. In agriculture, advancements in time looping technology were expected to further increase crop yields, enhance resistance to pests and diseases, and improve nutritional profiles. There was also interest in using time looping to accelerate the breeding of new crop varieties that could thrive in changing climates, contributing to global food security. Environmental applications of time-looping technology continued to evolve, with projects aimed at accelerating the restoration of ecosystems, enhancing biodiversity, and mitigating the impacts of climate change. These efforts were seen as crucial for achieving global sustainability goals and addressing the ecological crises facing the planet. In education and industry, the focus was on leveraging time-looping technology to enhance learning, productivity, and innovation. Accelerated learning programs and personalized education paths were becoming more sophisticated, allowing for more effective and inclusive education. In industry, time looping was being integrated into research and development processes, enabling faster innovation cycles and more efficient production methods. As these advancements unfolded, the importance of ethical governance and global cooperation became even more pronounced. The International Ethics Council and the Global Innovation Council emphasized the need for continued vigilance and ethical reflection. They advocated for proactive policies that addressed emerging ethical dilemmas, such as the implications of human enhancement, the potential for social stratification, and the long-term impacts on human identity and society. Public engagement remained a cornerstone of the governance framework. Iris Vaughn and her team continued to prioritize transparency and inclusivity in their work, ensuring that diverse voices were heard in the decision-making process. They expanded their outreach efforts to include more interactive and immersive experiences, such as virtual reality simulations and community-based participatory research, allowing people to engage with the technology and its implications in new and meaningful ways. The commitment to technological equity was also reinforced. The Global Time Looping Equity Fund and other initiatives aimed at reducing disparities in access and benefits were expanded and refined. There was a particular focus on ensuring that marginalized and underserved communities were not left behind as the technology advanced. This included supporting local capacity building, promoting technology transfer, and fostering international collaboration. Looking ahead, there was a recognition that the future of time-looping technology would depend on the collective efforts of the global community. The technology's potential to contribute to human well-being and planetary health was immense, but it also posed significant challenges that required thoughtful and coordinated action. Dr. Vaughn reflected on the journey so far, acknowledging both the achievements and the ongoing challenges. She emphasized the importance of maintaining a balance between innovation and responsibility, and the need for a continuous commitment to ethical principles and public engagement. The path forward was not without its uncertainties, but the foundations laid through global cooperation and ethical governance provided a strong basis for navigating the future. The chapter concluded with a sense of optimism and resolve. The advancements in time-looping technology had the potential to address some of the world's most pressing challenges, from healthcare and education to environmental sustainability and social equity. However, realizing this potential would require a collective commitment to ethical stewardship, inclusivity, and global solidarity. As they looked to the future, Dr. Vaughn and her team, along with their international partners, were prepared to continue their work with a deep sense of responsibility and a vision for a better world. They were dedicated to ensuring that time-looping technology was developed and used in a way that was aligned with shared human values and that contributed to the common good. The journey was far from over, but with continued effort and collaboration, they believed that they could help shape a future where technology served as a force for positive change and human flourishing.